Are you not entertained, Eagles fans? 2 blocked field goals in the fourth quarter made for the wildest win since the miracle at the Meadowlands, which helped us forget an absolutely abysmal first half by the Birds.
And a huge series win over the high-flying Dodgers got canceled out by a series loss to the lowly Diamondbacks. We'll walk through the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Phillies' trip out west.
Like Jordan Davis haul into the end zone, we're coming in hot for the love of Broad Street. For the love of Broad Street, welcome back to the show. I'm Jake, that's Marshall. With the regular season coming to a close, the Phils already have the NL East well in hand, but our place in the postseason seeding isn't quite certain just yet.
Okay, don't get ahead of yourself, Jake. We got plenty of time to talk baseball later. Let's start with the Birds. We just witnessed the biggest comeback ever at Lincoln Financial Field, Jake. Down 19 points early in the third quarter with no hope in sight at all. The Eagles found a way to win somehow, Jake.
Yeah, fine. Have it your way. Let's hear your thoughts on quite possibly the wildest regular season Eagles game I've ever seen.
I just rewatched the game to refresh my memory on this, and I have never seen an offense that looked like two completely different squads from the first half to the second half. The first quarter, you get that pick by Zach Bond off of a throw by Matthew Stafford, which, you know, he has been producing. We've seen that from him going back to last year, his ability, even in the Super Bowl, to pick off Patrick Mahomes there. But that gives the Eagles a short field, and they convert that into a touchdown at the end of the drive on a tush push. But after that, everything went completely cold for this offense.
Brutal.
It was so frustrating to watch. In the end of that half, the Eagles have a 2nd and 16 and a 3rd and 16, Jake, and they ran the ball twice. Now, I understand that you've got to have some, conservative moments when you're play calling, right? There are times when you don't want to take that risk and force a turnover. But when you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert on the outside, what are you doing? Remember that they're on your team. It took them until the second half to remember that. And Barkley, in this game, Jake, it's been kind of a similar situation for the first 3 games. Didn't have much of an impact. I think teams are loading up to try and stop him and make it a tough sledding situation. Make Jalen Hurts beat you with his arm, Jake.
Yeah, and it's honestly, I don't blame them for doing that. The thing that I'm still upset about. I listen, I'm thrilled we got the win, but I'm furious at how long it took to adjust. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Okay, we have 2 or 3 drives where they're putting 8 guys in the box every play, and we're just bashing our head against the wall, trying to run. You said it. We've got 2 of the best, wide receivers in tandem in the league. And right. Why did it take an entire half to decide, why don't we throw the ball? Like, we have a Super Bowl winning quarterback. We've got a perennial all-pro wide receiver in A.J. Brown, a burner in Devontae Smith. I don't get it. And it's the dichotomy of how well we played in the second half that almost makes it more frustrating, right? Yeah. It's not like we didn't have it in us. We had it the whole time. Right. It was almost like this thought from the coaching staff to like keep it in your back pocket. I don't know what they were waiting for. When you're playing the Rams, who are, they're, a couple Super Bowls away from a true dynasty. They're always in the postseason. Mm-hmm. Who are you waiting to deploy these plays on? It's for that game.
Yeah,
it was incredibly frustrating.
It was an early season test and one that the Eagles in the first half did not pass at all. Kyren Williams went off in this game, especially early. The Eagles did tighten up in the secondary a little bit as well, but you had that long pass given up. Again, that question mark of the secondary, that long pass given up over the top to Devontae Adams. That's a clear push off if you're watching it back. But yeah, the Eagles get a make-up call later in the game that kind of offset that. Then Puka Nakua, it was incredible. You knew where they were going to go with the ball. You knew who Matthew
Mhm.
Stafford was going to find. And he was just always open, playing from the slot, playing from the outside. It didn't matter. Going against Adoree Jackson, again, a liability for this team. That's going to be a question mark moving forward is can the Eagles stop a passing attack? But Jake, we say all that, and we have to realize it could have been much, much worse.
Oh
The
yeah.
the Rams had 4 field goals in the first half. That is a defense really standing up and holding tough when it needed to. But watching this game back, that second drive, they could have gone up by 2 scores. They don't go up by 2 scores because of a holding penalty that knocks them
Right.
back on that drive. There were other opportunities that Matthew Stafford had receivers wide open, Puka Nakua on one, and he missed.
Mhm.
So this was really right in the Rams' grasp, and then it all kind of got away from them. I texted in our group chat after that first score of the second half when Jalen Hurts gets absolutely walloped, and there's a turnover on that play, and the Rams score right on the next play. I texted ball game. Like I think both of us were just that's
I think
it.
everybody. I mean, Eagles, Rams. Who cares? Anyone watching that game just thought, oh, those halftime adjustments didn't work,
Right.
and it's the shame of it is that like you look at the score at halftime, you're probably thinking, wow, 19 in one half, this Eagles defense doesn't have it. But if you just talk about where the field position was for the Rams, I mean, it seemed like they were starting at midfield
Every
all of
drive.
those drives because
Yeah.
we were going backwards. I mean, it was like it was making me sick to my stomach. Quite honestly, I was talking to someone about this today. I'm shocked I didn't turn it off.
Yeah.
That was that I don't know about you. I was getting those late Brian Johnson vibes,
Hmm.
like the
Hmm.
Matt Patricia call an offense for some reason because we were that lost. I mean, I was feeling all of those awful feelings.
Yeah.
And
And
I just, I'm glad I didn't, but I am still shocked I didn't turn it off.
I was almost expecting to receive that text from you. I'll be honest, Jake, but they flipped the script in the second half, and Jalen Hurts really put this team on his shoulders. He was finding his receivers, AJ Brown with a big day, Dallas Goedert with a really important touchdown, kind of a la Brent Selleck in the Miracle at the Meadowlands #2.
Hey, that's a
Um,
good shout. I
a,
That's a great shout.
a tight end touchdown from distance, although Brent Selleck's, I think, was like 55 yards or
Yeah, he
something
was
like
way
that.
back.
He
Yeah.
was way back. But that was a quick strike. That was 5 plays, 79 yards, after just giving up a what should have been back-breaking
Well,
touchdown in this
and
game.
not moving the ball at all that whole game. That was
Right.
what was so it was just like, oh, Patullo decided to turn a page in his playbook because there's more than 5 plays on there that we were just running over and over and over again. And that's what was so shocking me at how easy we made it look after making it look so difficult that the whole, first half of that game.
Yeah. And it starts on a long completion, throw it up, go ball on a double move to AJ Brown down the sideline where it's in traffic, but we know he can make those
He
catches.
always makes those catches.
And
Always makes them.
you have to be able to test the secondary, keep them honest. Saquon Barkley is not the only superstar on this team. And yes, we know the offense ran through him last year, right? The offense was basically profitable or successful, I should say, because Barkley was taking the rock. But
Mhm.
you have to be able to do both. Jalen Hurts proved that he could do both. The clutch throws, especially that last drive, you have two to AJ Brown on a 3rd and 10, 2 different spots in that drive that, again, putting it up there, letting him make a contested catch, but the guts to do it at that moment. That first one,
Yeah.
especially, he's throwing it at a little bit slower pace than he might normally throw it. He kind of threw that ball, like floated it up there, knowing AJ's gonna have to break back to me and make a contested catch, and then he suns the guy beneath. I
Yeah,
mean, he
right,
just pushes him to the ground,
right.
which was funny. And you almost forget that AJ can do that because we haven't seen him do it this entire year. But oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think all the fans are reminded that's AJ Brown and
He's
he's
all
one of the
pro.
best. He's one of the best in the league. And then
Yeah.
again, Devontae Smith. Some of those earlier drives in that second half that the Eagles score on, he has some clutch catches. One on a 3rd and long over the middle, and you start to see the Eagles. Okay, we have some firepower, but what with that switch in momentum that happened, I think that really that play to Goddard was okay. We're back. We have hope. We
Right.
can do it. I want to say the maybe the biggest play of the game, and we'll get to the rest of his plays in this game, but to me, watching it back, the biggest play in the game is when Jordan Davis stops Matthew Stafford on a 3rd and 2. He's running to the sideline.
Yep.
He's got the angle. Jordan Davis, 30
He
pounds
can
lighter,
run,
whatever it is,
baby.
he
He
can
can
run.
run now.
And
Look out.
he tackles him right before the sideline. That play to me, if you don't make that play and the Rams are able to convert that 3rd down and they're no longer in a punt situation, they're going for another field goal, I think you're in trouble. I think we're looking at an L on this one, but it didn't turn out that way, Jake.
Yeah. Well, back to Jalen Hurts. You can't call it a play because it was off the field actually. But one of the things I was so pleased to see was if you're not an Eagles fan, you're not going to call it Jalen Hurts getting mad or yelling. But if you're an Eagles fan, he was probably the most animated I've ever seen him on a sideline.
Most
I mean,
certainly.
he was having an animated discussion with the offensive guys about presumably what the heck kind of play calls that they were calling. And again, if you just watch it and you aren't an Eagles fan, you're like, oh, it's just a normal football conversation. Jalen Hurts doesn't do that.
He
And
doesn't.
for him to recognize that he needed to pipe up there and B, doing it in such a way where Jalen Hurts, for all of the faults I have with the guy, when he talks, that team listens.
Absolutely.
And he needed, well, I don't even know what he said, but whatever he said, he needed to say that in that moment.
It worked.
And it did work. And I just, again, I don't know what he was saying, but it was like, again, the Goddard touchdown and then that, which you just kind of felt like, just even as a fan watching, you're like, oh, we could
We're in
do
this.
this. We
Yeah.
might not do it. We might not come all the way back, but we're not going to lay down like we did in that first half. We might actually have something here. And it was all the more important, I think, because Lane Johnson was out of that game. Neck stinger, didn't play past I think it was the first quarter.
Right.
And he's kind of the guy you'd think would be the vocal leader of that group. He's not in there anymore. Jalen had to do it and he stepped up.
He did. Lane Johnson goes out and there is a significant drop off, Jake. I mean, watching the game back, the very next play, Jalen Hurts is sacked. And the play after that, like he no longer has any time to throw the football. So I think we maybe need to look back and give Kevin Patullo a little bit of grace because he could have been calling shot plays. We didn't have a chance to know because Jalen was getting walloped with, once he got to the end of his drop, it was no time to throw. Boom. He's on the ground and he was getting decked. Lane Johnson leaving that game, obviously, he's the best maybe to ever do it, Jake. I think he's probably the best right
for
tackle
our team
in history.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he is up there. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer in my book. But
should be.
When Pryor comes in, we do not have a prayer, and it shows on the stat sheet. 3 and outs in a row, and they don't get another first down until the second half, Jake, in this game. That's no production at all.
Yeah, I need to just take a moment to ream out whoever makes the call to put Pryor in. Pryor is a guard. He's a guard.
Yeah.
Howie goes out and gets Fred Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Pryor playing right tackle?
He should.
I don't get it. You have a guy that did yeoman's work last year, filling in at tackle. He's a swing tackle. That is his job.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, let's put Pryor in here. Yeah. And then they're shocked that he's not doing the job. I just don't get it.
What do you want, Jake? What do you want?
What are they doing? Yeah. What are they? maybe we should put Johnson in because
Oh,
he's an actual NFL tackle,
hold on.
Marshall.
Wait a minute.
Like,
This
and
didn't cross
look,
my mind.
oh, Jalen Hurts isn't getting popped every 5 seconds.
Hmm.
We're moving the ball. This is crazy. Like, this is why I get so frustrated. I would consider myself a knowledgeable fan, but I am not like a football guru, Marshall. I have to admit it to you. I'm not like
Hey, you
a
were a
beautiful
kicker.
mind. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's exactly. That's the joke that the self-deprecating joke. I'm just a kicker. But why am I sitting on my couch screaming at the TV going, he's a guard. Put the tackle in at tackle. Like kids playing Madden would know to put the backup tackle in at tackle and not the backup guard. It
It
was so frustrating.
and it would seem obvious, Jake. It would seem obvious that that would be the way to go. But I think there may have been a Matt Pryor's been here all offseason. He's going to be the first man up. That's just how it's going to go. Fred Johnson's coming in late, but Fred Johnson was on this team before, so maybe it's offensive coordinator wants this guy in, and
And that's why
Sirianni's
I
like,
wonder if that was what it was. And that's why I'm not willing to just absolve Patullo
yeah,
because I don't, it just like, especially because it's Nick, right? Like Nick saw Johnson working last year and Fred Johnson, that is not Lane. This is
yes,
very confusing. Fred Johnson working at swing tackle. So I just feel like it wouldn't have come from him. Maybe it was Patullo, like, we're going to run the ball. The extra guard is going to help for some reason. I don't know what the justification is, but whatever it was, don't ever do it again because having Fred Johnson is an asset. And then they're just like, forget about him. We'll
yeah,
try something else.
and,
I don't
and
understand.
hopefully, Johnson is back in short order. But we had that neck stinger. You would assume that he'd be back this week, Jake. But that's a key position on this team, as we
Yeah.
saw bear itself out on the field this weekend. But Johnson, to his credit, comes in and solidifies that right side, and then you start to see those big pass plays, and even late in the game, some run lanes opening up
Right.
for Saquon Barkley, a 10-yard and a 12-yard rush. He only had 46 on the day on 18 carries, which is not the production you want to see out of your bell cow in the backfield there. But at the same time, the passing game is what needed to take hold there. You cannot get out of this game though without talking about the play of Jordan Davis. And it was from start to finish. This guy right here called it. He said, monster year for Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
You can watch the first episode we put out. He said, that's what's going to happen. And to
Yeah.
this point in the season, Jake, you are absolutely correct.
Listen, I know what I just said. I don't know football. I know football because I told all of you he's gonna have a monster year. And here's the thing.
Pull the clip. Pull the clip.
Yeah, pull the clip. Wait, run it. Okay. It's not just because he's more in shape. It's another year of experience. It's another year of having to be the guy. Right? He's the guy now. He didn't have to be the guy before because they had Brandon Graham. They had all these other pieces around. They had Williams up the middle. Like he didn't have to be the stud. All of those guys are gone now. It's just Carter next to him and him. And Carter's going to get his numbers, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Eagles fans have to get used to the fact he's going to get doubled every single play, maybe tripled, because he's just that kind of a special talent and this is what happens to these guys. So you need one other guy to step up. And listen, it was part of it was me hoping that Jordan Davis stepped up. But when he comes into camp looking like he does, like he drops all that weight and he's just got that like fire in his, I don't know if you're listening to his interviews. He's got that fire in him that he was missing that whole, his first couple of years in the league. And a game like that is terrifying for other offensive coordinators because you can stop Jalen Carter.
Totally.
You can't stop Carter and Davis. You don't have enough linemen because someone's got to cover the edge rushers. And right now, as long as he doesn't regress, I mean, this guy looks like he needs to be doubled also, which is going to be huge for us coming down the line.
And it's coming, Jake, in key moments in this game. Early on, again, the defense is struggling. The Rams are able to just go up and down the field, but even then, you're still not allowing them to score touchdowns, which is an important stat on this stat sheet here. But Davis with that tackle on that third down of Matthew Stafford when he's escaping for a first down, gets that ball back, and then the ensuing drive, I believe, or the drive after that, the fourth down stop. I mean, he blows up that run play. The
Mm-hmm.
Rams are going for it to get across midfield, and then the Eagles get the ball back because Jordan Davis and, to his credit, Jalen Carter are there to
Carter.
make that play.
It's the tandem. That's the key, right?
Mhm.
It can't be one or the other. It takes both of them to blow up plays like that. And as we have all seen by now, it's not just on defense, it's on special teams. I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm going to nerd out here for a second. Please bear with me while the former kicker relives his glory days.
Push up your glasses, Jake. Come on.
Yeah, right. So I want to talk about kicking a little bit. No, but the key is it is almost impossible with the quality of long snappers in the NFL to get what you call like an edge block,
Mhm.
where you get that traditional what we're used to seeing as football fans, that
Right.
that like speedy
Send
corner
him
or
around the
something
edge. Yeah.
coming off the edge and get long snappers are robots now. I mean,
Mhm.
they fire that ball back, and it's almost impossible unless it's like a fumbled hold or something to get that corner around the edge. What we just saw the Eagles do is going to be the new like default for block kicks.
That's a
Short of I don't
blueprint.
know. Right. If maybe you saw the Jets game, that freak athlete to jump over
Mhm.
the line. That's one thing. But there's probably, I'm not exaggerating, 3 or 4 guys in the entire NFL that could pull that off.
Yeah.
The more traditional block that you're going to see is what Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis did, where you just push that entire interior back towards the kicker. The shortest distance between the line and the kick is that straight line right off the center. You can't go through the center. So you saw, I don't know if you saw Jalen
Mhm.
Carter and Jordan pinched in off his outside
Wedged.
shoulder.
Mhm.
Right. That's the new, well, as you said, the new blueprint. And if they can figure out a way to do that consistently, that is going to blow up the kicking game. It's going to force teams to go for on fourth down more, particularly. I don't know if
Yeah.
you heard him talking about on the broadcast. Those further out field goals, you need a
It's a
lower
lower angle.
ball flight. You
Mhm.
need a lower, but you can't hit it like an extra point where it pops up
Right.
nice. They need a lower ball flight. So if you get that push, there's a pretty decent chance you get at least something on it, a pinky or a something. And I really think if they can figure out a way to consistently get that push, you're going to see teams having to go for it on 4th and 6 from, the 40-45 yard line. Whereas, we're used to seeing recently in the NFL, 60+ yard field goals actually being hit.
Mhm.
And that's a huge, huge boost to this special teams unit.
It is. So we get that attempt to go up 9 points in this game. You have Jalen Carter on that first block, Jordan Davis next to him. They both end up getting a little piece of the ball to stop that kick. The Eagles take over, and then it's game on. Then we have those big conversions by Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown on those 3rd and 10s. AJ gets some good yak, and then that
Mhm.
clutch fourth down throw to
Needed
Devontae
that
Smith
one.
in the corner. In the
Yeah.
front of the end zone on the right side. That's guts right there, making that play. That is inches
Yeah.
from not being a score as well, but
And
that's a
you know
perfect
what's
play.
so impressive me is like it's pretty easy to see. Devontae Smith is just so undersized for the
Hmm.
NFL. Like he's
Yeah.
just this tiny. That route in that spot is such a physical. Like that's a physical route. That's something you'd think AJ Brown would run.
Right.
And I wonder if it caught the defense off guard that little Devontae Smith was running that route and then taking that wall up, staying in bounds. It was impressive. I mean,
It
it was it
was.
was it was good to see. And listen, he said it after the game. They needed a guy to make a big play. And how cool is it when you can trust your second wide receiver to make that play?
Yeah, you can go to AJ on that. They did on the previous play. Cam Curl kind of got tangled up with AJ Brown. No flag on that play. I don't know that it should have been a flag, but there was no call. And then AJ or Jalen goes to Devontae in the front end zone. Again, just nerves of steel. That guy playing
Yeah.
quarterback. If he throws the touchdown that puts you up. Obviously, there's still time left on the clock, and the Rams, do what the Rams do and drive down the field. But that's a massive play in that game, and Jalen just nope. That's the Jalen we expect to see.
Yeah.
Nothing, no
And,
reaction.
and that's why I was so impressed at that reaction when he was kind of getting fired up on
Yeah,
the sideline. But you want
and
to
after
talk
the
about a
first touchdown
robot.
too.
Yeah, but you want to talk about a robot. The dude didn't celebrate when they blocked the kick. He's a
Yeah.
stone cold killer. So my wife hit her head on the ceiling from jumping on the furniture. And Jalen, who was playing in the game,
Yeah.
just walked to the handshake.
Yep.
He is, if he wasn't a football player and a very godly man from all aspects, as far as I could tell, I'd be worried he was a serial killer. That is crazy. That he just walked. He's like, "Yep, yeah, business as usual."
Nothing
Wow,
to see
I mean,
here.
that's crazy. Uh, I want to get your thoughts on this Bucks game.
Yeah.
With the added wrinkle of I don't know if you saw Nolan Smith on
Right.
IR,
Mm-hmm.
and just as we were about to record here, Jacorian Bennett, who was the guy I've been advocating to take Adoree Jackson's spot, IR. Darius Cooper, less of an important piece now that we have Mechie, but still
Yeah.
IR. I
Tough.
I I might have jinxed it because I kind of thought to myself in that Rams game when Johnson went out, this is our first like real key injury
Mm-hmm.
so far. So we've been pretty lucky we can get through this. But now they're coming thick and fast. So I want your take on that, and then how you think this Bucks games go. Bucks
Yeah.
game goes.
So the injuries to me are a concern, with especially what we've seen in the last two games. Adoree Jackson has gone down a couple times, and it has been Jacorian Bennett going out on the field first to replace him. I don't know where Keely Ringo is, but I feel like he is going to need to get some more snaps. I don't
Yep.
I don't really see Adoree Jackson being your long-term solution. Ringo is a guy who comes in, it's maybe this is just kind of optics, but he's wearing number 7. Like you don't get a single digit number on this team, I feel like, unless you're going to play on the field. But
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong there. Wearing Michael Vick's number, and he's not on the field. Anyway,
Right.
I expect him to get more playing time, and I think the coaching staff is going to look to him, especially if Adoree Jackson has to come out of the game. Who else do you have outside of sending Cooper out to the edge? But I don't think they want to do that. I don't think they want to move Cooper out of the slot. So
Yeah.
you've got another special teamer there that's going to be a problem. And then Nolan Smith, we haven't seen much pressure from the edge this year from the Birds. We've seen a lot more happening in the middle, which we kind of expected because, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, we just spoke about. I mean, Jalen Hunt had a quarterback hit in this game, I believe, and Nolan Smith had some okay rushes, but we're not touching Matthew Stafford right in this game. We barely
Right.
touched Mahomes in the game that preceded this one. So I think edge is a concern on this team, and not having Nolan Smith, even if it is just for a couple of weeks, as I'm hearing those reports, that's a problem. And considering, Jake, that this was an injury that he had surgery on, I believe,
Yeah, that same tricep. Yeah.
on the in the offseason. This is beginning to be potentially, an injury bug for Nolan Smith. So we'll watch that. I'm nervous. Anytime I see Baker Mayfield, anytime we have to
Yeah,
go to
he owns
Tampa.
us. Oh, he owns us, doesn't he? I hate that.
Yeah. The last few years, it's been just nightmarish when we go to Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that tide is going to turn. The Bucks are a beat up squad at this point, Jake.
Mhm.
Some of their wide receiver play has been, average, subpar. You still have Mike Williams on the outside, or Mike Evans on the
Evans.
outside, and
Well, but I mean, that's the saving grace is he looks like he might miss this game.
mhm.
The problem is Godwin might come back. So it's like
Right.
that's kind of a wash, in my opinion. If Godwin does come back, it would be incredibly fortunate for us if neither of those guys played. Knowing our luck, both of them will figure out a way to be out there. Um,
Right.
but aside from those two, I mean, Sterling Shepard's kind of the next man up, and if neither of those other two are playing, Quinion takes Sterling Shepard, and then you're like, okay, I'm feeling good about this. If one of those guys play, all of a sudden Sterling Shepard becomes the problem because Adoree Jackson's got to follow him around, and then
Yeah.
you're a little concerned. And we're really in trouble if Evans and Godwin were to play. Evans has a hamstring, and just knowing soft tissue injuries is a little older. I don't see him playing in this game. That's speculation
Yeah.
at point of recording here. Um, but if Godwin comes back, it could be tricky. And as you've said, Baker just loves carving us up for some reason.
He
And
does.
of
And the
course,
secondary has shown it's open to that carving
right.
from anybody
Yeah.
this year.
Right. Yeah. And Bucky Irving is no slouch either. So this could be a really, really tough game. And that is why I think I'm going to, unfortunately, predict my first Eagles loss of the season. I hate to do this, but give me like a 28-24 loss in Tampa Bay.
I I have gone back and forth on this one, Jake. It's anytime you see the Buccaneers, it's going to be a tough one. The Eagles did, we have to remember, go into Tampa Bay on a Monday night game in 2023 and come out with a victory on the back of a Zacchaeus touchdown and some long runs
Zacchaeus.
from Swift. Yeah, that kind of like
Yeah.
throw it up in the air, lofting
Right.
touchdown to Zacchaeus. It looked like it was going
Yeah.
to be picked. Um, I, it's really hard for me to bet against the Eagles right now. And
That's fair.
while they look like they are about to lose every game they play, they have not to this point, and it goes to the credit of the quarterback, the coaching staff in large part, but the players that they have on this team. They just don't want to go down. And if we're healthy going into this one, barring something crazy, I think we come out with it. I'm going to go a 27-21 Birds win in this one.
Marshall, I say this a lot. I trust you more than I trust myself. I hope you are right and I am wrong. And I will, with great pleasure, say congratulations next week when we record.
Yep.
But with the Birds flying high at 3-0 across the street, Phil's wasting a huge series win over the Dodgers by dropping two straight to the lowly Diamondbacks. Even more painful because the Brewers left the door open by dropping 2 of 3 to the Cardinals. So that was kind of our opportunity to go grab, at least take a stab at that number 1 seed.
Right. And I think it's still possible the Phils could get the 1 seed, but it's going to take a miracle at this point. Jake,
Yeah.
your thoughts on the last week? Where do we go from here? It was kind of up and down.
Yeah. So the Dodgers series, like the Dodgers series filled me with so much hope because that had that postseason feel, right? Where
Yeah.
towards the end of the season, you're on the road for 3 straight in LA.
Mm-hmm.
For all intents and purposes, they coming into the season were the World Series favorites. And we were kind of an afterthought. And then not only do we win this series, we win the season series, which is huge for the tiebreakers for the postseason seed. And that was just such an enormous win. In
Massive.
particular, that first game 1, that 6-5 win, it just felt postseason-y, and to come out with that win just felt so satisfying. And as high as I was that night is as low as I felt when we dropped that 4-3 loss to Arizona.
Yeah.
Listen, they're still a good team. They've got a lot of great players, but I don't think had the year anybody thought they would have in
Absolutely
third place in the division. This was a gettable team, especially in comparison to LA.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, that 9-2 win, last day of the road trip, whatever, fine. They want to get out of there. But that game 2 was so important. And as good as that game 1 felt, I felt as bad about that game 2 in the Diamondback series. And just the amount of runs that we were giving up to the Diamondback, like a 9 runs against Arizona.
I
Like
know.
it's frustrating. But
Not what you want to
what about
see.
you? Yeah,
Yeah, obviously we have to respect Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Perdomo. Like these are
right.
players,
It's a good
right?
roster.
This is a
Yeah.
good roster, and again, underperforming. But it was a letdown, especially coming off of that really resounding defeat or victory over the Dodgers, who are, for all intents and purposes, your biggest competition for that 3 or 2 spot, whatever you're going to end up in. I think that was, as you said, as exciting as it was to see the Phils come out in a big way in those games, and some of them were close. You have this sinking feeling when you look at the rest of their schedule in the week that preceded us here. So I don't know. It's an interesting back and forth when it comes to the starting pitching in these series. Suarez gives up 6 runs. Nola gives up 4 in Arizona. You're looking at this and saying, okay, who are my starters going to be in the NLDS? What's it going to look like? At this point, we kind of expect the Phillies are going to lock up that first round bye. Maybe not that 1 seed, but
Yeah, looking right now like two, just pragmatically speaking, but enough for the buy.
right. So you get a bit of a break until, beginning of October here, if that's the case. And then who are you putting up first, Jake? I mean,
Listen, that's the easy question because Sanchez just looks unreal.
that's true.
He's just the dude just keeps delivering game after game. I have no problem with that.
Hmm.
What I'm scared about is what we do after that. Because ordinarily I'd say, oh, Suarez would be your next man up.
Hmm.
But he's doing that same thing that he
Yeah.
did last year, where he starts tailing off toward the end of the regular season. And the silver lining is I don't know, but I think that buy is going to benefit him the most because I really think he must have a fatigue thing.
Hmm.
Because he starts every season with his hair on fire. No one can touch him. And then, towards that 3/4 mark in the season, fastball velocity drops off, starts giving up more hits, starts giving up more runs. The walks start to creep up a little
Hmm.
bit. And I don't know. I think it's fatigue. And that
Right.
buy will help him the most. I hope it does because right now I'm thinking he's your two.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
I mean, historically, I would put Nola there, but Nola is not Nola, right? At this
Which is
point,
so sad.
it should be, well, in a perfect world, Wheels is your start
Well, yeah,
game one, then obviously
that's
that can't happen. But
yeah.
in a perfect world, that's what we're looking at is Wheels, Sanchez, Nola, and Suarez in another
And
order.
then I'd be fine, right?
Yeah,
I'd be on cloud nine if that were the case. But
right.
with Wheels going down for the season, all of a sudden now you're looking and you're like, I'm not as overtly confident as I was.
I think you probably well, I don't know how Topper feels right now because Topper could go 2 different ways. He could go, okay, Suarez maybe has a little bit of a hotter hand right now than Nola. Or you could go, Nola's the guy with this experience in these positions, and
That's
he's
fair.
he's played really well in some of these postseason series. I think he can show up in this big moment. I'm going to put my faith in him, right?
Mm,
It's kind of like you know, the Phil's using Cole Hamels near the end of his career sort of a thing. Like it's just given that respect, even though he might not have it the way that he used to have it. And in this season, he has
right.
not. The other thing that I thought was interesting, this approach, we saw Walker and Bueller in
Yeah.
one start. And for like the way it looked, it pretty much worked, Jake. I mean,
Yeah. This is what I was calling for in the last episode.
mhm.
Like once the postseason hits, throw out starter, reliever, closer. There's no rules anymore. You get outs. And this it was awesome to see it because I thought he'd wait until the postseason to try it. I
Yeah.
love that he's like, let's see what this looks like. Is it effective? I thought it was pretty good.
Hmm.
You talk about like the big key for starters is that third time through the lineup. Don't let them get there.
Yeah.
4 or 5
Simple.
innings, yank them, throw the other guy in 4 or 5 innings. There's your 9. Do 4-4. Hopefully we're winning at that point. You put the Durantula in there, and Bob's your uncle. And who knows if that success carries over to the postseason. But I do love the fact that Topper tried it, and I think that's your roadmap to winning without a second dominant starter.
Yeah.
Lazardo hasn't been that guy down the stretch either. But Suarez once through the lineup, Lazardo once through the lineup, Taiwan Walker once through the lineup, Bueller once or twice through the lineup. And now you're going, oh, if you start looking at it as what are my arms instead of who are my starters, I get a little bit more confident.
Yeah, but then it, if you're looking for a World Series ring here, okay, that works, but only for so long. And, you get to 7-game series and then the math is a little bit different.
Right. Yeah. But and I wonder, I was never a starting pitcher, so I don't know what the longevity is like when you stop trying to go the distance. Like how quick's the recovery time? Could you throw, 3 innings back to back days or with just 1 day rest? I don't know what the physiology behind that would be. And I'm sure that's probably different guy to guy. Like a
Right.
guy like Suarez, who it looks like he's been having fatigue issues, you probably don't want to do that. But a guy like Walker Bueller, who, looks fresh still, coming down the stretch here, maybe that works for him. Maybe that works for Lazardo for the same reasons. And again, you're avoiding that statistical bugaboo, which is that multiple times through the lineup issue that it presents itself in the regular season that you could avoid if you've got the guys to do it. And I'm wondering, I'm hoping, I'm thinking we have the guys to do that.
He's wondering, he's hoping, he's thinking, folks. You heard it here first. We have the guys.
I'm praying.
Hey,
so go ahead.
it's a bad time though, to kind of have a long road trip, with the Phillies, going out to LA and then to Arizona. They come back.
Yeah.
And they drop one to the lowly Marlins.
Yeah.
Jake, it always seems that you can kind of, once you get to the playoffs, in some senses, especially with this new format, you can throw the records out a little bit. I mean, you are looking at who is the hot team going into these series. Are the Phillies hot enough right now with what we've seen in the last 3-4 games here that you're confident going into what is likely an NLDS matchup?
No. But Trey Turner's coming back at some point. Allegedly, reportedly Friday. Maybe. I don't really care as long as he's healthy and ready for the postseason, because I think a lot of the issues we've been having, part of it is missing his bat in the lineup. Listen, he had another career year at the plate. And more importantly, and I think somewhat under the radar, is his defense really came a long way this year. I mean, so many errors last year, uncharacteristically, but still a lot of errors last year. He cleaned those up this year. And now all of a sudden, Sosa went down. So, right, we've been rolling with Stott at short and Weston Wilson at second. That's not like, it's not a characteristic of what this lineup's going to look like in the postseason, knock on wood.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think we're hot right now. No, I'm not confident right now, but with Trey back in this lineup, you solve so many of the issues that we've been seeing pop up over the last week or so that I might not be confident, but I am hopeful. Yeah. And as Philly fans, we tend to lose hope every now and again. So the fact that it's there on the horizon is a big deal, Marshall.
We got to grab it, Jake. We just got to grab that hope and hold on to it for dear life.
Yeah, just even though it's going to try to get away because we're Philly fans, it's gonna try and slip out of our hands, and we just got to just get back here, hope.
Yeah, reinforcements are coming, Jake, and reinforcements have already arrived in the form of Alec Boehm, who returned to the lineup.
Yep, there's another one.
His bat is back, and he had at least one homer, maybe two in the last couple of games here, Jake.
RBIs for sure. He was knocking them in, which was good to see.
Yeah, so it always is a welcome infusion and allows you to shift some other pieces on this defense here. But you're looking at Bohm, you're looking at Trey. You need them to play really well because guys like Casty, you're not getting the production out of them that you'd want. Again, that question of Kepler versus Casty, I think that's another big. What do you do?
Yeah.
Who's in the lineup here?
Yeah, and I will say, Cassidy delivered a clutch hit off the bench yesterday. It didn't end up mattering. We ended up losing in extras, but that was good to see. However, neither of those guys are really hitting, which is
No.
frustrating because, neither of them are particularly wizards on defense. Like, you really have both of those guys to hit the baseball,
Mhm.
and it's been not great. And then I don't know if you saw these reports with Casty and Topper, and Casty saying the communication's not there. He wants more talk from his manager. My take on all that is, like, that is a very fair thing to say. It's a fair point to make. Why are you telling the media?
He shouldn't
Like,
be.
unless Topper's ignoring him in the locker room, which I just have a hard time thinking that's the case. Like, just knock on his door. He's and Topper handled this with a lot of class. He said, "That's on me. I got to do better." But it's a two-way street.
It is.
And I don't know. It just seems really, like, out of place and petty to be talking about when you're, according to some people, the World Series favorites going into this postseason, and you're whining that Topper's not giving you the attention that you want. Like, it's so weird, Marshall. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
it points to maybe a little bit of dissension in the ranks, but I don't know. It might just be a particular, dissension with Castellanos. I think
Yeah.
he is probably frustrated that he is not getting time in the lineup the way that he would like to, like that he's not
Right.
the go-to guy, that Kepler's even taking his spot at times, what he views, I'm sure, as his spot.
Right.
He's made big plays for this team in big situations in previous years. And, he's probably saying, hey, I can do that again. Why don't you put me in there? I get it from that point, but don't TO him. Don't TO Topper right
Right.
there. Just let that speak what you are feeling to your
To
manager.
him, not to
Yes.
us.
Because it doesn't matter. You can make all the noise, you can whine and complain all you want. That is the man who you have to prove you're worthy to go into the
Right.
lineup. Like, you have to prove to him that you are in fact the right player and that you will in fact make these plays. That is something, especially years into this relationship between Topper and Cassie now, that I thought pretty unexpected. I
Yeah.
very surprised by.
The TO reference is brilliant, by the way. I didn't even think of that. Which makes me wonder, is Casty now going to have a media moment where he's crying, saying, "That's my manager. That's my manager." It could happen. It could
It
happen.
could.
But the one issue I have is that I think I've heard two whiners regarding Topper, and they are Casty and Kepler. So what do you notice? Oh, two guys that aren't happy with their playing time. Don't whine. Just hit the ball. If you hit
Yep.
the ball, you'll play.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. It's really frustrating as a fan for a guy that, like, I don't know about you. I love Topper. I think he basically was our savior when
Yeah.
Girardi was tanking this team, and he turned the ship around. I love the guy. So it's really frustrating to hear a guy who hasn't really been producing to be like, if Harper or Schwarber comes out and says there's been an issue with communication, I'll go, oh, okay.
Right.
Like, there's a problem. But
Right.
crickets from those guys, and then Casty and Kepler are the ones complaining. I don't know if I buy that.
I don't buy it.
And I especially don't buy it right before we're about to hit the postseason. Screw your head on straight, hit the ball, and stop complaining. We got a ring to win, right?
We got a ring to win. Hey, I want to say one more thing about Topper here. I have watched Phillies managers in the past, Eagles coaches, whoever it is. I even think of, Bill Belichick, his handling of the media. And Nick Sirianni can be this way sometimes too, but just like very Like I'm not gonna touch this. And then there's
Yeah.
the Mike McDaniels, the guys who go the other direction and kind of like
Yeah.
are
They're
almost
buds.
inflammatory and kind of, I don't know, it's a weird
Yeah.
relationship they have. But I think Topper hits that sweet spot when he's dealing with the
Yeah.
media, where he's being honest with you, he's being honest with the fans. He knows that the fans are going to be watching and listening to what he's saying. And he's also protecting his team. He also
Yeah.
knows that he has to stand there and take the heat if the heat is on and nobody's performing the way that Philadelphia wants to perform. Because we have high expectations, probably the most of any sports city in the world
Yeah.
expectations. And he is able to stand there and say, you know what, I'm going to go to bat for these guys. They're going to go to bat for me. So again, to see that coming from Casty is a little bit of I think it's a little bit of a slap in the face. But
Yeah.
I want to just double down on Topper is the guy in that clubhouse that holds it
Yeah.
together like glue. And I think everybody in that clubhouse respects him, and he has the fan base behind him as well. You can't say that for every manager, and you can't
No,
say that for every
you can't
NFL
say,
coach.
you can't say that for a lot of Phillies coaches. I mean,
Yeah,
short of Charlie Manuel, I can't remember a guy that the Phillies fans have gotten behind more than Topper. And Manuel won us a ring, so he just signed, sealed, and delivered his fandom.
right.
In doing so. But I mean, I again, that's why I was so equally disappointed in Casty and blown away by Topper's response, because it just, again, just like a class act on
Hmm.
how to respond to that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So we are going in, Jake, to this end of the series with the Marlins, and then it's the Twins coming to town, and we're off to the postseason. It
postseason, baby,
feels
here we
like
come.
it was just yesterday we were starting this season off, honestly,
Yeah.
but it has flown by, and the Phillies are in great position right now, and hopefully they'll make that deep run we were talking about, Jake.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but for me, if you look at like the disparity between regular season and postseason, MLB knocks it out of the park. I mean, ho hum for 162 games, and then postseason lights come on, and everyone goes bananas. I mean, Philly's gonna be rocking. Red October's back. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
It's happening. Everybody calm down.
It's happening.
All right. That'll do it for this week. And we'll be back next week to recap all of the action of the Phillies and the Eagles. Hopefully, some more wins to talk about, Jake. We will see you next time for the love of Broad Street.
For the love of Broad Street.